breeze it took to shake the leaves to make my mother's hair move. My father dared touch it and say, please may I have a kiss. Yes, the breeze made me exist. And if you want to get even deeper into this right now, you will look at me and see a big old cloud. That's right, the cloud it took to form the storm, to make the breeze, to shake the leaves, to inspire the lip lock. Yes, a raindrop will pop up out these words. You heard me right. If you look at me close enough, you will see a dark, stormy night. And what is night? Well, night ain't night without a polar opposite of sunlight. So if you watch the way my hands sway, you'll see the light of day. And every day is a testament to the sediment of the earth's cores, ever spinning enormous force. So when you look at me just right, you'll see a spark of the source. But the most fascinating thing about this, and it's true, is that if you look at me just right, you see you. Only what you perceive, how you believe, the space between you and me that creates reality. So when I sing, you can feel it. When I cry, you can heal it. When I speak words, you can be the words I speak by singing with me. Peace, love, free. 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 And when I try to fight or run, I only wind up back at square one. And when I think I know what's best for me, fate, she takes me back to exactly where I need to be. And when I am alone and full of fear, I just remember the rising sun always appears. And every day miracles, miracles that I see. Will you take me back? You take me back, you take me back, you take me back to exactly where I need to. I am exactly where I need to be. I need to be exactly where I am. I am a blessing manifest.
Good morning, Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, and welcome to another fabulous Sunday morning. I am so glad that you are joining us this morning, whether you are here in person or joining us online or even watching later. Your presence is a blessing to this community. My name is Reverend Kris Alexander. I am the senior minister here at Celebration Center, and we are physically located in Falls Church, Virginia. However, we have a commitment to be a truly global community. And so wherever you are joining us from, you are a welcome part of our beloved community. If you are joining us online, I invite you to go ahead, say good morning in the chat. Let us know how you're doing. What's up? How's your week been? Also, go ahead, since you're already there, click that share button and share us to your social media pages so that all of your friends and loved ones can join in this morning as well. If you are here in person, I invite you to silence your cell phone, but don't worry about turning it off. Instead, if you have comments or thoughts that you'd like to add to the chat, you are welcome to go to Facebook or YouTube and add those. Just make sure, once again, that your sound is off. If you are here for the very first time, an extra special welcome to you. We are grateful that you are joining us, and we would love to get to know you a little bit better. So if you could scan this QR code that's right here, or you can go to bit.ly/CCSL guest, and that is going to take you to a guest form you can fill out that will just give you a little bit more information about us and also give us a little more information about you. If you have a prayer request that you would like for us to support you in, there are a couple of different ways that you can do that. You can go right over here to the table and fill out that green card if you're here in the room. You can also scan this QR code or go to celebrationcenter.org and click on the Request Affirmative Prayer button. That is going to take you to a secure form that you can fill out. That form goes to our ministers and practitioners to pray on throughout the week, as well as our ministry of prayer on Monday afternoons. We are continuing to accept Lutheran Social Services donations. So every month, if you're new to us and you haven't been around long enough to know, every month we do a supply drive for Lutheran Social Services here in the DC area. They just opened a new facility in Alexandria that is serving people from all over the DMV. It's very exciting, and they are primarily serving refugees from Afghanistan, Ukraine, Central and South America. So this month we are collecting first aid kits. And the way we figure out what we're going to collect is we communicate with Lutheran Social Services, and they tell us what they are in the highest need for. So this month it is first aid kits. We invite you to bring your first aid kit in, and we will donate those to Lutheran Social Services. This morning we have an extra special service. I know, I say it every week. We have our music director, Lynn Hollyfield, with us providing the music. Let's give her a round of applause. We have our practitioner, Judy Blaise from Iowa, joining us. Let's give her a round of applause. And then this morning, I am speaking on one of my most favorite topics. I'm going to try to keep it short-ish, but I heard a groan from the back of the room. I promise I'll get you out before your stomach starts growling too loudly. But I am speaking on boundaries build bridges. I'm super excited about this topic. I love the idea of boundaries, especially when you put it in conjunction with our monthly topic, which is cultivating authenticity. I have some announcements for y'all. First, we are having a used book sale. I am so excited about this, y'all, because we have like over 20 boxes of books that we are going to be selling at dirt cheap prices. Paperbacks are 50 cents, hardcover 50 cents. Yeah, that's right. Hardcovers are $1. CDs and DVDs are 50 cents as well. And we have some CDs that are free. We have cassette tapes that are free. It's just gonna be a really wonderful time. Now, I have some jobs for you. I have some jobs for you. So the first job that I have for you as our community is to take the flyers, and if you are here in the room, they are over here on the table. You can take a few. Take these flyers, put them up in places that you go, grocery stores, coffee shops, things like that. Your apartment complex or condo, if they have a board, any place like that, put up these flyers so that people know to come get books. And if you are online, you can go to bit.ly/CCSL book sale. It is on that screen. Yes, up in the top corner, bit.ly/CCSL book sale, or you can scan this QR code and that will take you to printable forms of the flyer, both in color and black and white if you only have a black and white printer. Now, your second job is that we need volunteers to man the book sale. It is going to be on Saturdays from 2 to 4 and on Sundays from after the service, so 12-ish to 2. And so if you are interested in signing up for one of these days in the month of April or more than one, please go to celebrationcenter.org/volunteers and fill out the volunteer card. You can also scan that QR code, or you can talk to our volunteer coordinator, Miriam Catellis, or you can talk to me and I will pass your name on for her. So lots of ways to get involved with this book sale. It's going to be a great way to bring in the community and to support the community in getting to know who we are and what we're up to and that we're up here in this area. Now then, we have been listening to y'all's feedback, and we do require masks here at Celebration Center, and we've had masks outside in the foyer if you want to get them, and that has been because we are in a small physical space without a whole lot of airflow, and we just don't know who's going to walk through the door, and if they're going to be immunocompromised or if they really need to be in a place where everybody is wearing a mask. Now, we also know and understand that some people have trouble wearing masks or that masks really don't work for them. And so we have been trying to figure out a way to be inclusive and welcoming of the entire community. And what we have come up with is first Sundays of the month are going to be mask optional Sundays. And so you are welcome. We are never going to stop you from wearing a mask. You are always welcome to wear a mask. However, just know that if you come on first Sunday, masks will be optional. And we are going to have a coffee social hour before the service beginning at 10:15. So this kind of gets all of it going. It gets the social hour, it gets the coffee, which I know a lot of people are missing. It invites and welcomes those people who struggle to wear masks or really would not like to. And also, we are going to continue to require masks for the other 3 Sundays of the month, 3 to 4 Sundays, so that people who are immunocompromised can still feel welcome to attend as well. Now, because we are a global community and we are committed to these hybrid services, hybrid community time, if you don't feel comfortable coming on first Sunday because masks are optional, or on the other Sundays because masks are required, whatever it may be, you are always, always, always welcome to join us online and be a part of our community and be a part of this service from the live stream. If you have any questions about any of that, please come talk to me. I'm totally open and available for questions, thoughts, concerns, anything like that. So the first one of those will be on April 2nd. Next, lots of information this morning, y'all. Hang on with me. Take a deep breath. Are y'all still with me? Are y'all awake? Okay, good. Next, we're going to be starting a really cool outreach program called Change for Change. So we are getting little ceramic piggy banks. They are just white, and you can decorate those. And then we're going to do a naming ceremony for your piggy bank on Sunday morning, April 16th, where you will receive your piggy bank. You then take it home with you. Fill it with all of your change, loose change, and things like that, just throughout, the days and the weeks. This is an ongoing sort of process, so you don't have to hurry up and fill it or anything like that. And then once a quarter, we're going to collect all of that change here, and then decide as a community where we would like that change to go to. What organization would we like to support with our change for that quarter? So this is the idea that small acts can make a big difference in the world. So this is going to be a really fun activity. We invite everyone to join us on April 16th. If you are one of our distance community members, give us a shout out in the chat and we'll make sure we get your address and we'll send you a piggy bank. Now, because you can decorate your piggy banks, our art night on April 21st, Friday, April 21st from 6:30 to 8 is going to be decorating our piggy banks. We're going to be using markers and paint and I don't know, whatever else Miriam comes up with to decorate our piggy banks for Change for Change. So this is a really fun activity, another way for us to get involved with something that, you probably just have change in the back of your couch. So an easy way to get involved with the community. And then finally, today after the service for our hybrid community time, we have the Art of Living Foundation coming in to offer their introduction to the sky breath meditation. And so I am really excited about this. It's going to be from 12:30 to 1:30, and we invite everybody to join us. If you're here in person, run downstairs, grab a sandwich, come back up. Or if you're online, go to celebrationcenter.org and click on Enter Zoom events at 12:30 to join us. Whew, we made it, y'all. Good job. And now I'd like to invite Lynn up for an opening song.
All right. I hope you'll sing along with me. This is I Am Alive in Spirit by Melissa Felipe. I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive as me. I am alive as spirit. Spirit is alive as me. I am alive as spirit. Spirit is alive as me. I am alive as spirit. Spirit is alive as me. I am alive. 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 Spirit is alive as me. I am alive as spirit. Spirit is alive as me. I am alive as spirit. Spirit is alive as me. I am alive as spirit. Spirit is alive as me. I am alive as spirit. Spirit is alive as me.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Judy Blaise, and I'm your practitioner from Iowa. So let's say our vision together aloud. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. So today's reading comes from Anthon St. Martin. Like a Columbus of the heart, mind, and soul, I have hurled myself off the shores of my own fears and limiting beliefs to venture far out into the uncharted territories of my inner truth, in search of what it means to be genuine and at peace with who I really am. I have abandoned the masquerade of living up to the expectations of others and explored the new horizons of what it means to be truly and completely me, in all my amazing imperfection and most splendid insecurity. So I just revel in this space of knowing that I, just me as I am, is absolutely perfect in my imperfection, absolutely one with all of life everywhere. There is no place where that spirit, that creative force, God, whatever you want to call it, dwells and informs its creation. So every particle of creation is simply the emanation of this one source. And this source, which I believe is total, complete, unconditional love, a love so vast that none of us could even fathom it, because we are simply a part of the activity of the source. And we have power to create ourselves. That we desire, that which is of greatest fulfillment, and all that we need to move into the fullness of who we truly are. And when we know that we are simply godlings, that we are here because God informed us in this body, mind, and heart, then we know that we have all that we need every moment. And all we need to do is be here, be present, and be still. So let's take some breaths, some conscious breaths, that 3-part breath. Breathing in, hold, and breathe out. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out. So I know that each of us is divinely blessed. Each of us here and every aspect of creation is in this beautiful mandala of perfection and wholeness. And so I claim for each of us here absolute, vital, radiant health. And for each of our loved ones and everyone across the planet, that idea that God holds in its heart and mind of perfect wholeness, radiant health, is being revealed and manifest within each of us. And I know that as we simply breathe in this space of oneness, we know that the abundance of the universe flows all around us. And all we need to do is open our heart and mind to receive that abundance in the perfect way. And from whatever source is the source that has decided to be part of this wonderful manifestation of infinite abundance in our life. And I know that our relationships are filled with this beauty of God's unconditional love right now, right here. That nothing exists outside this love. And so we are clear, and we have that wisdom flowing through us from the source of creation to allow ourselves to be open and receptive and vulnerable when we come into relationship, so that it is God seeing God, God being with God in the highest and best way possible. And I know that for each of our heart's desires, and for the world to feel the upliftment of each of us right here, right now, we claim and accept for this infinite source flowing through every aspect of creation. We claim and accept that peace is possible, because peace is the very aspect of God that we now embody and claim and accept. And so we just simply open our hearts to all of those who are suffering around the world and know for them that there is the presence of God right there. and that they can be comforted, loved, and cherished in this infinite, unconditional love. In love and gratitude, I simply know these things, bringing them forward, to surrender into the power of that infinite love that always says yes and is moving in to manifest each of that which is in our hearts in this moment. So in love and gratitude, I simply let it go. I release, I surrender. And so it is.
I'm going to share a song that reminds me of spring. It's the beautiful song Feeling Good by Leslie Bracuse and Anthony Newley. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on a tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Dragonfly in the sun, you know what I mean. Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's what I mean. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Stars when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Freedom is mine, that's how I feel. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new life. A new dawn, a new day, a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Thank you, Lynn. So Lynn gave me song options this morning, and that's the one I picked because I just love that song so much. And that was beautiful, Lynn. Thank you. Let's talk about boundaries, y'all, shall we? I know that this is maybe not the the easiest topic for us to discuss, but when we're talking about this idea of cultivating authenticity, I do think that boundaries are one of the most important aspects of authenticity, because the reality is that we all have boundaries. We all have places that it doesn't feel good if those expectations aren't met, or if those boundaries are crossed, or whatever it might be. And if we aren't able to express and communicate those edges, then we aren't being authentic. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to define boundaries. What are boundaries? It's kind of a buzz topic. We're always talking about have good boundaries and this and that and the other, but what does it actually mean to what are boundaries? And so my most favorite definition or thing about boundaries comes from Prentice Hemphill. And what they say is boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. And so what I love about this is because if we don't properly express and communicate our boundaries, if we just let people walk all over our boundaries, or if we let ourselves walk all over our boundaries, then that isn't love. But if we push other people away and we if we just block everybody off and our boundaries look more like walls, that's not love either. So we have to find that happy middle ground of where can you and I be together where we both love ourselves and one another simultaneously. So effective boundaries protect our personal space, our physical and mental health, our safety, our security, our emotional health. And it's basically saying, this is what I'm okay with, and this is what I'm not okay with. And without boundaries, I was thinking about, okay, so, what happens if you aren't well bounded? Without boundaries, it fosters codependency, resentment, blurred expectations and responsibilities, lack of respect, no self-worth, and a lack of empathy and compassion. Now, that last one, I feel like all the other ones are kind of maybe understandable, right? That if you have no boundaries, that is really what codependency is it's a relationship between two people with no boundaries. And, it fosters resentment if somebody's constantly stepping on your boundaries that they don't even know that you have. And, they're without boundaries or communication of those boundaries, there's blurred lines. There's no understanding of what the responsibilities or the expectations are in a relationship. And this can be an intimate relationship, it can be a friendship, colleagues, in our professional life, in our personal life. It could be here at the spiritual center, right? That we get to communicate our boundaries so that we know what the expectations are. What are our responsibilities? When I show up here at Celebration Center, what can I expect? What can be expected of me? And then when that doesn't happen, or when we allow people to walk all over our boundaries because we haven't properly, effectively communicated them, then what we're doing is we're throwing ourselves under the bus for the keeping of the peace. Keeping the peace. I'm just gonna keep quiet. But what it does is it eats away at us, right? It chips away at our self-worth. It chips away at our own values, at who we are. And then finally, a lack of empathy and compassion. Now, Brené Brown, who y'all know I love me some Brené Brown. Brené Brown talks about the most empathetic and compassionate people are the most well-bounded. Those are the people that take the most care of themselves, that have the highest self-worth, that take the time to know themselves at such a deep and intimate level that they can effectively communicate their boundaries. And then when they do show up, it is showing up with their whole self. There is no resentment. There is no misspoken expectations. There's no blurry lines or codependency, but rather that empathy, that compassion is coming from a place of bringing my whole authentic self to you and your experience and what you need at this time. Now, I think as ministers, I see a lot of ministers with not fantastic boundaries, let's just say. And I think that there is kind of this expectation in the world that the minister always shows up and always, does the thing or whatever it is. And that ministers have, and even if the community doesn't have this expectation, I know that there's sort of this unspoken rule in ministry life that you're supposed to be overworked and underpaid and and that you're supposed to just always be there and always show up and say yes to everything because you're serving the world and it's so important. And actually, when I got into ministry, the first thing I figured out was that I was going to need to be a really well-bounded person, that I was going to need to take deep care of myself so that I could show up to my community fully. And so that means that I say no a lot. I say no to things that don't serve me. I say no to things that aren't in my zone of genius. I say no to things that are outside of my personal values. But what it means is that when I say yes, you can know that I'm saying yes with my whole heart, that I truly want to be there, that I'm truly deciding and choosing to show up to whatever that activity is, to whatever that space is, to whatever you have going on with my whole heart, because I've said no to all of these other things. And so my yes means something. Your yeses mean nothing if you can't say no. Your yeses mean nothing if you can't say no. And we're really taught not to say no. I don't know about y'all, but I couldn't say no to my parents growing up. That was non-optional. When your parents, my mother, my best friends growing up, one of my best friends, I lived on the side of a mountain and I had best friends at the very top of the mountain and best friends at the very bottom of the mountain. And in the winter, we would sled from the one house all the way down to the other. And in the summer, we would ride wagons. I'm not sure how I'm still alive down these switchbacks. And it was wonderful. And in my best friend at the bottom of the mountain, in her family, they had this rule that whenever their mother asked them to do something, they would say, "Yes, mother, I'd love to." And my mom thought that was fantastic. And so she tried to implement that in our family where I would say, "Yes, mother, I'd love to." And needless to say, it did not go well. It fostered a lot of resentment and a lot of arguments. And she soon dropped it and decided that my surly doing the thing without saying, "Yes, mother, I'd love to," was better than the fight that ensued when she tried to get me to say, "Yes, mother." And so I don't know if anybody else grew up. I got off on a little tangent there, but I don't know if anybody else grew up in that sort of framework that you are the child, I am the adult, and when I tell you to do something, you do it. You don't say no to me. I think that was a fairly typical way to be raised up until I think this generation that's now being raised up. I think that something different is happening now. But for all of us adults here in this room and online, you were probably raised that you couldn't say no. And maybe you had super progressive, amazing parents, and they didn't do that. But if you were in the school system, you were probably raised to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. I know I was being raised in the North Carolina in a Southern school system, you say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir, and no, ma'am, and no, sir, right? And those are not just willy-nilly yeses and nos based off of your own desires, but based off of what they want to hear, right? And so then we get to adulthood, and all of the sudden, we're expected to just be able to say no to one another. That we just are supposed to have this skill set that has never been fostered in us. And it is really, really hard, y'all. So what I'm going to invite, we're going to practice a little bit this morning. So if you're online, you can either say this out loud or get your typing fingers ready. And if you're here in the room, maybe clear your throat a little, get ready, because what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you tell me no. All right, are you ready? Okay, tell me no. No. All right, do it again. No. Maybe. No, this is a clear-cut no. So if you're online, I hope you're telling me no out loud, or you can even type it in the chat if you want. One more time, let me hear it. Make it well up from the very center of your gut. Let me hear it. No. All right. Oh, you know what that means? That means that now when you tell me yes, I can trust that you're telling me yes from a place of authenticity, because you've already told me no. A no is a gift. A no means I trust you enough to show up as my whole authentic self. And my authentic self is saying no in this moment. And I trust our relationship enough to know that we will continue to have one even after I tell you what my boundaries are, even after I show up loving myself enough to not throw myself under the bus just to keep the peace with you. No is a gift. And so often, here in our community, we ask one another before we hug. We say, would you like a hug? And people tell me no to that question all the time, especially small children. And I love it. I love it, because when you tell me no, that means you trust me enough to give me your real answer. And if your real answer is a yes, that's beautiful too. But what I'm saying is that no is a gift. And so when somebody tells you no, and how I usually respond is thank you. Thank you for being honest with me. Thank you for telling me the truth. And with small children, I'm like, yes, go with your big no. Tell me no. I'll just wave at you from over here. No is a gift. And so I invite you to continue practicing saying no, so that when the important things come up, when the important moments, when it's really, really hard to say no, when you'd much rather keep the peace, but you've already practiced, you've practiced with the easy things and the small things, and you've practiced with yourself. And so all of a sudden, when the big no's come up, they're easier. At the very least, your voice, your mouth knows how to make that word. You know how to say it. And then maybe your voice is shaking, or maybe you feel like you have to explain yourself, even though no is a complete sentence. But either way, you've done it. You've set that boundary. Now, here's the other thing about boundaries, is that they require communication. Right? It does not help me at all if you say no in your head and don't actually tell me anything. That is not clear and effective boundaries. Instead, what is necessary is for us to communicate with one another. And what I often hear is, well, I shouldn't have to tell them that. They should just know. Have you ever thought that? I shouldn't have to tell them not to do X, Y. Everyone knows not to eat the cake in the fridge. Everyone knows that. I can't believe she ate a piece of cake from the fridge. I shouldn't have had to tell her that. Everybody knows that if something's in the fridge and it's not yours, you don't eat it, right? But the reality is that we all come, there's cake in the fridge right now, y'all. We all come from different values, different understanding of the way the world works, different rules and culture in our homes and with our parents and our families. Maybe in the household you grew up in, you don't eat the food that's just randomly in the fridge and you don't know where it came from. But maybe in their household, if it's in the fridge, it's a free for all. You can have it, right? We have no idea the bound or the framework which another person is coming from. And so anytime you hear yourself or hear somebody else saying, well, I shouldn't have to tell them that, they should just know. That right there is a red flag to say, am I not communicating an expectation or a boundary that I have? And there might be blurred lines. I might not get my expectations met. And sometimes it's not worth it. We find out that that boundary or that should isn't actually really that important to us. So we say, well, I shouldn't have to tell her not to eat the cake in the fridge. And then when we think about it, we go, I don't really care if she eats the cake in the fridge. And so we don't express that boundary. But if we have, okay, that cake is a whole cake and it's set aside for this thing, then that becomes an important boundary. And so then we get to communicate it. We get to have good open communication skills. Everyone's values are different. And so that is the beautiful thing. That is something that I really, really love about spiritual community, is because in our families we tend to all be very similar. We tend to be raised in similar ways. You might be the black sheep of your family, but in general you have a lot of the same or similar values or ideas about the way the world works, because that is the family that you were raised in. Same thing with friends. We tend to keep people around us and close to us that share similar values, that see the world in similar ways, and all of that. Even same thing to an extent in our workplace, that if we're working with people that we at least share enough of the same values, that we're working at the same company, there's a company culture there, we might even all be doing the same job or have the same degree or things like that. But in a spiritual community, the ability to be wildly diverse is here. And what has been proven is that the more diverse a group of people is, the more creative they are, the more able they are to solve problems, the more they are able to think outside of the box, the more they are able to learn and grow together. That diversity is actually a really beautiful thing. And I think that spiritual communities are the place where this really shows up. And so we come in, and the only thing that we have in common, and maybe not even that, is our spiritual principles. And because we're science of minds, we have some basic principles of science of minds, things like oneness, or that to a degree we are co-creating our reality. But really, I bet if we all sat down in a room, we would all have different ideas of what spirituality is and how that shows up to us. And so really, when we walk through these doors, we are wildly different individuals, which means that boundary setting and communication and saying no and thanking others for their no is of even greater importance than it is maybe in other areas of our life. And that, to me, it can sound a little like, oh, that sounds like work. I don't know that I want to work on a Sunday morning. I just want to show up, and I want to get the message, and I want to hug people, and I want to do what I want to do, and then I want to leave. But the reality is the work that's the meat. That's the juiciness of it. That's where we grow together. And all of a sudden, we're not just a community, a random group of people that all come together to hear somebody give a message and to hear some good music, but instead we truly are a beloved community where we know one another and we're showing up for one another and where we call one another when we need support, and we can reach out when we need that support and ask for it because we know and we trust that if the other person doesn't have the bandwidth for it, that they're going to say no. And how beautiful is that to just be able to freely give and to freely ask, knowing that what we are going to be received with is true empathy, compassion, love, understanding, support in whatever way that looks like. So Ernest Holmes, our founder, in this thing called You, he says, you rob no person when you discover your own good. You limit no person when you express a greater degree of livingness. You hinder no person's evolution when you consciously enter into the kingdom of your good and possess it today. So what does this mean? What this means is that you don't have to worry that by setting your boundaries and by being clear and communicating your expectations and communicating where you're at, you don't have to worry that you're stepping on somebody else's toes. There is more than enough room for all of us. There is a way for us to come together and to be together as individualized expressions of spirit in a way that's supportive of all of us, in a way that honors everyone's boundaries, everyone's expectations, in a way that we can fully, unconditionally love one another. And so, I'm trying to think how I want us to end. Because this takes a lot of courage, doesn't it? It takes courage to be a well-bounded person. And what I have found is that it takes a lot of messing up. It takes a lot of ineffective communication to learn how to be an effective communicator. Whenever somebody tells me that they don't have a green thumb, that they're not good at growing plants, or that they always kill the plants they have, because I love plants. I have lots of plants, and I am able to bring plants back to life and keep them alive for the most part. But whenever somebody tells me they don't have a green thumb, I just go, I wish you knew how many plants I have killed. I think any gardener knows, any person who has a green thumb knows that there have been a lot of mistakes. There have been a lot of plants that died under their care. And so it's in those mistakes, it's in those figuring out. That's how we figure out how to do it, is by figuring out how not to do it. And so much like growing a garden, boundaries are the same thing. It's the same thing, that we get to mess up, and we get to ineffectively communicate, and we get to have those blurred lines, and we get to say yes and then realize that we're kind of resentful of that yes, and go back and say, actually, it's really a no. I'm sorry that I didn't effectively communicate that to you in the first place. And what's beautiful is we are a beloved community, and so we still love each other, even through the messiness and the mistakes, even through the unclear boundaries. And as we figure out where the boundaries are, maybe it was a yes in that moment, and now it's a different moment and it's no longer a yes. That is the beauty of spiritual community, is that we provide a safe space and a framework to allow one another to show up as the beautiful, whole, authentic beings that we are. So let's pray. So what I know in this moment is that there is God and nothing else. That there is this one infinite, absolute, eternal presence, this thing that is so grand, so magnificent, so much more than anything we could possibly fathom. And so we just lean into that knowing, lean into the knowing that when God decided to create, it looked around and the only thing to create out of was itself. And so God is creating more God as each of us, and we are creating more us as God. In everything that we do, we truly are the individualized expression of the sacred, of the divine. And so, knowing this to be true, what we know is that our boundaries must be sacred, that our communication is divine, that this beloved community truly is full of unconditional love, and that we continue to allow one another to show up as our whole, authentic selves, knowing that we are learning and growing and supporting one another through it all. And so I am so grateful. I am grateful for this community, for the expectations, for the boundaries, for the mistakes, for the wholeness, for the authenticity, for all of it. I am grateful for each individualized expression of spirit that is here in this room, that is online, that is watching in the future. I'm so grateful for all of it. And so I simply release my word. I let it go. I know it is done as I have spoken, and even greater, more magnificent than anything I can possibly fathom. And so I simply just surrender as we say together. And so it is.
I'm going to share a Karen Drucker song, Gentle with Myself. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with myself. I will be tender with myself. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I rock myself like a newborn baby child. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I love myself like a newborn baby child.
Thank you, Lynn. So this is the time in our service for our gifts and our offerings. And once again, your presence here is a gift to us. Whether you are joining us here in the room or you're joining us online, we can feel your love energy expanding from your heart. And if you have a donation or an offering or a tithe that you would like to give to us this morning, there are several different ways that you can do that. You can use the table right over here. We have baskets set up. You can also scan this QR code or go to celebrationcenter.org and click on give. Click on give. And both of those options are going to take you to our Secure Breeze website where you can make a one-time or a reoccurring donation. We also have on our website at celebrationcenter.org our address where you can mail in checks, money orders, or anything else. We are so grateful for all that you give to this community. And now I'd like to invite Judy for an affirmation and blessing.
So join me in saying our offertory affirmation together aloud. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so we bless these gifts knowing they carry energy of the infinite abundance that flows continuously through all creation. As these offerings move throughout our center, we know our programs prosper, uplifting and enriching our lives. We know the energy of love within each gift moves through the greater community through the center's tithes. We infuse these gifts with gratitude, knowing they return to us multiplied. And we simply give thanks for the unending circle of giving and receiving, affirming prosperity flowing through all of life. And so it is.
All right, if you're able and you would like to stand, I hope you'll sing this song with me, the beautiful Let It Be by Paul McCartney and the Beatles. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. But though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer. Let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be, let it be. whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
So join us at 12:30 for the Sky Breath meditation on celebrationcenter.org. Click on Enter Zoom events or right here in this room. And I invite you to repeat after me. I am something wonderful happening in the world right now. I cultivate authenticity in my life. I allow myself to evolve and grow. I set healthy boundaries with love and clarity. I am worthy simply because I am. And so it is.